Okay, so have you ever thought about starting a podcast?
Yeah,
Like you have this idea and you want to get your voice out there.
for sure.
It's exciting, but it can also be kind of overwhelming.
Totally.
Yeah.
Where do you even begin?
Right. So that's what we're diving into today.
Awesome.
We've got some research from Kevin Brake.
Oh, I like Kevin Brake.
Yeah, he's like the podcasting guru.
Right, yeah.
And he's got some seriously insightful stuff to say about how to get started.
Cool.
And you know what? It might be simpler than you think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Kevin starts by asking this question.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you need to do to start podcasting.
Okay, straightforward enough.
Right. But then he goes deeper. He's not just talking about the mechanics.
Oh,
He's
God.
talking about the why behind each step.
Makes sense.
Like take choosing a topic, for example.
Yeah.
We've all heard that passion is key.
Yeah, passion, passion, passion.
Right. But Kevin gives some really cool tips for figuring out what your unique podcasting niche could be.
I like that unique podcasting you.
Yeah.
So how do you figure that out?
Well, he says sometimes it's hiding in plain sight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Think about the stuff you can't stop talking about.
Okay.
The things that you geek out over with your friends.
Yeah.
You know, it could be anything.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like obscure 80s cartoons.
Okay.
The history of cheese making.
Sure.
Whatever lights you up.
Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot where your interests and a potential audience overlap.
So it's got to be something you love, but also something that other people are going to be interested in.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And that's where finding a unique angle comes in.
Okay.
Even if you think your topic's crowded,
Yeah.
Kevin says there's always a way to stand out.
Okay. Well,
You got to ask yourself, what perspective can I bring that nobody else is offering?
okay.
So let's say you're a teacher
Okay.
and you're passionate about education.
Mm.
Maybe your podcast focuses on the emotional side of learning,
Interesting.
sharing stories and struggles from students and educators.
Oh, I like that.
That's way more compelling than just another generic education podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because it's personal. It's unique.
Exactly.
So you're saying it's not just about it's about the how you approach it.
Exactly. And once you've got your topic down,
Yeah.
Kevin walks us through the different podcast formats.
Okay. Like what?
Like going solo versus having a co-host,
Mm-hmm.
or even doing interviews.
Right.
It's like choosing your podcasting personality.
I like that.
So what do you think? What are the pros and cons of each format?
Well, a solo show lets you have complete control over your content
Right.
and the schedule,
Yeah,
which can be really appealing if you're busy.
definitely.
But a co-host can bring in another perspective,
Mhm.
and that can make it more dynamic for listeners.
Yeah, like a fun conversation between friends.
Exactly.
And then there's interviews,
Yeah.
which can be awesome for reaching new audiences
Mhm.
and getting insights from experts.
Right. It's like each episode becomes its own little masterclass.
I love that.
So it really depends on what you're going for.
Totally. And Kevin's really good about saying there's no right or wrong answer here.
That's good to hear.
It's all about what fits you best.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's say we've got our topic.
Yeah.
We've figured out our format.
Hmm.
Now let's talk about the tech stuff.
Okay. The equipment and all that.
Exactly. But don't get overwhelmed.
Easy for you to say.
I know. But Kevin assures us that starting simple is key.
Okay. That's good to know.
He's all about prioritizing clear, engaging audio
Hmm.
without breaking the bank.
Right.
So forget the fancy studio setup.
Okay.
When you're starting out, a decent microphone and user-friendly editing software are your best friends.
Makes sense.
You can always upgrade later as you grow.
Okay, so what about editing software?
Yeah, what about it?
Any recommendations?
Well, Kevin actually encourages new podcasters to see editing as a way to enhance their content,
Okay.
not just a technical chore.
Interesting.
He talks about how things like strategic trimming,
Mm-hmm.
noise reduction, and even adding intro-outro music can make a huge difference.
It's like polishing a rough diamond, right?
Exactly. It's taking your raw audio and making it shine.
I like that.
So we've got our topic format, basic gear. Now, where does our podcast actually live?
The host, the platform.
You got it,
Yeah, I know a little bit about that.
right? But Kevin points out some nuances that are super helpful for new podcasters.
Like what?
He says to think beyond just the price
Okay.
and consider things like ease of use, analytics,
Right.
even customer support.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. He specifically compares Buzzsprout and Libsyn.
Popular choices.
Yeah. Buzzsprout's known for being simple and beginner-friendly,
Mm-hmm.
while Libsyn offers more advanced features and customization,
Okay.
but it might have a steeper learning curve.
So it depends on your tech skills.
Exactly. and your long-term goals.
That makes sense.
Okay, now here's where Kevin's research gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
He moves beyond the nuts and bolts and into the secret sauce of podcasting.
Ooh, the secret sauce. Tell me more.
It's all about creating truly engaging content.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Well, he challenges us to ask this tough question. Why should anyone listen to my podcast?
Ooh, that is a tough question.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in our own excitement,
Yeah, for sure.
but we need to think about what value we're offering listeners.
Yeah.
Are we entertaining them?
Mm-hmm.
Educating them?
Yeah,
Making them feel less alone?
right.
Figuring out that what transforms a good podcast into an unforgettable one?
I see. So it's got to have a purpose.
Exactly. It's about solving a problem for your listener,
Okay.
whether it's boredom,
Mm-hmm.
a thirst for knowledge,
Yeah,
or even just a need for connection.
that makes a lot of sense.
And once you've got that amazing content,
Yeah.
you got to shout it from the rooftops.
Okay, how do we do that?
Marketing and promotion, baby.
All right, lay it on me.
Kevin breaks down different strategies,
Okay.
from using social media and podcast directories
Mhm.
to the power of cross-promotion.
Cost per.
Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know what it means.
Okay, so imagine you have a podcast about vintage video games.
Okay.
Kevin suggests reaching out to other gaming podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
blogs, YouTube channels
Okay.
for a guest swap or a collaborative project.
Oh, so you're tapping into each other's audiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're expanding your reach.
Smart.
And he emphasizes that consistency is key.
Right.
Showing up regularly with fresh content tells your listeners that you're invested,
Definitely.
and they're more likely to stick around.
Makes sense.
So we've covered a ton of ground today.
We have.
From finding your podcasting passion
Mm-hmm.
to creating engaging content and getting the word out.
Yeah.
But Kevin leaves us with this final thought.
Okay.
He says, the beauty of podcasting is that it's a truly democratic medium.
I like that.
Anyone with a story to tell and the passion to share it can find an audience.
That's inspiring.
And to help you on your journey, he recommends checking out resources like Podcast Insights
Mm-hmm.
and The Podcast Host. Great resources. They're full of tips, tutorials, and inspiring stories from successful podcasters.
Awesome.
So what resonated with you most from this deep dive?
Well, I really liked that idea of finding your unique angle.
Yeah,
I think that's key for standing out in a crowded space.
totally.
And the cross-promotion thing was really interesting.
Hmm.
I'm definitely going to look into that.
Awesome. I'm glad you found it helpful.
I did.
So what about you listeners?
Yeah, what about them?
Did anything surprise you?
Anything spark an idea?
Let us know in the comments.
We want to hear your thoughts.
Your question.
Even your podcast dreams.
We can't wait to see what you come up with.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, happy podcasting.
Bye, everyone.